Hello. Salt does not cause high blood pressure. I've helped clients get off medications, including insulin, high blood pressure medication. How many of you have heard that salt increases blood pressure? It's the cause. How many people do you know who had high blood pressure, stopped using salt, and their blood pressure did not go down? I've not heard of anyone that's done that. I know people that were on high blood pressure medication for 20 years on high blood pressure medication, avoided salt, changed their diet, and can use salt liberally without any problem. Okay, let's get to some biochemistry real quick. This is a cell. This is your sodium-potassium pump. It pumps 2 sodium ions out of the cell and 2 potassium ions into the cell. This runs everything. 20 to 40% of your metabolic rate comes from the sodium-potassium pump. Okay, this creates the resting membrane potential. The body cannot make sodium or potassium. You have to get them from your diet. I don't eat processed foods, so I need to add salt or I'm gonna have problems cramping and having other issues. Because sodium's kind of important. How important? Let's take a look. Sodium is needed for neurons to fire for brain health. Think Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, dementia. 2, it is needed for insulin to be released from the pancreas. Think how many people are on low salt diets and have insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. 3, it allows intestines and kidneys to absorb nutrients. Kind of a big deal because most people are nutrient deficient. 4, it allows the stomach to make stomach acid to allow the body to assimilate food and absorb nutrients. This is important. 5, it allows muscles to contract and to relax. Bodybuilders take salt before a workout to get a pump, because if they don't get a pump, they don't get any worth out of their workout. So on a blood test, you'll see potassium runs about 4 to 4.4, and sodium's on 140 to 144. Why is the difference? Because most of the potassium is inside the cell and most of the sodium's in the plasma. Okay. Salt increases blood volume. Blood vessels dilate, vasodilation. So that's normal. So when you take in sodium, your vessels, your arteries, and your veins are going to expand. The problem is, due to people's poor diets, insulin resistance, they can't vasodilate. So it's not the fault of the salt, it's the fault of sugar. Why? Sugar prevents the body from expanding. It hardens the arteries and vessels. But it's also not getting enough sleep, not getting enough nutrients in your food, medications, man-made seed oils and processed foods. Not drinking enough water will cause high blood pressure. There are a lot of moving parts here. So insulin also blocks the kidneys, these are kidneys, my drawings are not the best, from releasing sodium. Again, it's not the sodium's fault. If you're healthy and you take even a lot of salt and you drink water, you will be fine. Your body's gonna flush it out. That's what it's meant to do. But if you have insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, the insulin prevents the sodium from being released from the kidneys, and that causes high blood pressure. Dr. Ben Bickman on YouTube is a leading insulin researcher in the world out of Brigham Young University. Love him. Great explanations. Okay. Research has shown low sodium intake decreases lifespan. One more time. Taking in less salt decreases your life. There's numerous studies on this. I don't know if you can get there. So, a lot of nutrients have what's called a U-shaped curve. Even water. If you don't drink any water and you don't get any fluids, you will die. But if you get too much water too quickly, you'll also die. This is what the research found, the U-shaped curve. So here it says about 4 grams is a sweet spot, and there's variances in people. But the American Heart Association says 1.5 grams is the maximum amount of salt a person should take. Hello? That's not good. I don't know where they came up with that number. There's another diagram showing this is the life expectancy. This is the years of age. This is low age. The highest people that lived the longest had high sodium intakes, about 4 to 5 grams. Now, also, if you look down here, these people had the same amount and they died because they have insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, cardiac issues. Again, the problem's not the salt, the problem is they're not healthy. Okay. U-shaped curve. Dr. Brian Walsh, by the way, is one of my mentors. He does these drawings just phenomenal. He can draw out pictures of kidneys that look like real kidneys with all the parts to them. It's amazing. So sugar is the issue. Inflammation is the issue. Pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, diabetes. Okay. When I studied nutrition in Montclair State in the 1980s, we were taught a number of things that we now know is wrong. And I followed those things for 18 years. And for 18 years, I was in pain. I was not reaching my fitness goals. I was in bad shape. So I reached out, I met my mentor, Dr. Serrano, and he started teaching me biochemistry and physiology. And I started understanding at a cellular level and a physiological level what was going on. And I realized nutrition is like 8th grade. You know, an 8th grade knowledge. You know things in 8th grade, but you're not going to run the world. Once you have the understanding, you know biochemistry and physiology, you see things in an entirely different light. And I understood where I made my mistakes for 18 years after getting out of Montclair State. So I help people get off the medications. I help turn their lives around. And I owe it to Dr. Serrano, Dr. Morrison in New York City, Dr. Walsh, for teaching me what they've taught me to help people. www.HPA.Coach. Love you guys. See you soon. Hit subscribe, please. Any questions, right below.